Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Darian Jones. I'm the Caregiver Education and Digital Specialist at CarePartners. We have a very special guest today, Karen Pettit. She's a CarePartners Coordinator out in Waco. She's going to be doing her third part of the three-part series on asking how to ask questions to make meaningful conversation with your loved one who may have dementia, Alzheimer's, or other memory issues. Today, she's going to be touching on the spiritual side of that and what kind of spiritual questions you can help ask to help and bring up memories and just have a good conversation. So here is Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hi, everybody. I'm back. Nice to see you all.
So I guess we can just go ahead and get started. You want to tell us what you're going to be talking about today?
Yes, thanks, Darian. Yeah, today is Good Friday, and so I thought I would emphasize the spiritual aspects of talking with our loved ones with dementia. And so today I'm using a book called Facilitating Spiritual Reminiscence. I'm sorry, I'm going away there. Reminiscence. And it's by Elizabeth McKinley and Corrine Trevitt, and they published it in 2015. And I've given a couple of workshops on this, and it's just really applicable to today being Good Friday. But I also want to mention that it is Passover, so Shabbat Shalom, a very holy and healthy Shabbat for our Jewish friends. And then also Ramadan will be beginning April 24th. And so Assalamu alaikum to our Muslim friends out there. And so I'm going to be talking about how we can get our loved ones with early to moderate dementia to tell us reminisce about their childhood and youth and their young adulthood. But today we're going to be doing it with an emphasis on spirituality. And that is, when I say spirituality, I know that it is not the same as our religion, although religion is included in there. Spirituality is what gives us meaning, true meaning, or just our what's at the core of our being as far as what is meaningful to us, and what is our breath of life, for example. And so let's talk about that. And according to the authors of this book that I mentioned, by carrying on these conversations with our loved ones with mild to moderate dementia, they are going to have improvements in many different areas. One is just life satisfaction, just be more satisfied with the life that they have lived, and cognitive function even is improved. They have shown over a 6-week period of time with people relaying and reminiscing about their lives that their cognitive function can improve, and their hope and spiritual well-being also will improve. So please join me if you're interested on that, especially on this Good Friday and Easter weekend, and such a spiritual time, April, for all different religions. And so I just welcome you. So let me just mention again, I did in my previous 2 videos, that when we are asking these questions, we're acting as a listener, and we're not writing a life history or a family history, but we are going to open up a space for our loved one and encourage them to reminisce and to talk. But the emphasis is on their emotions and their spirituality, and not necessarily on their cognition. So try not to correct or guide them as they're speaking. Just listen, and that is how they're feeling, and that is how they're looking at their spirituality. So what is spirituality? And as I mentioned, it is our search for ultimate meaning in life. And we connect, or it is mediated through different pathways. And one of the main pathways or mediators of our spirituality is relationship. And that's relationship with our loved ones, with God, and with others who we come across in life. So relationship is a major mediator or connector to our spirituality. Second could be the arts. And let me just mention that everyone is different and unique. And so what is going to be very spiritually meaningful for me is not going to be the same thing as it is for you. But these are just some possibilities. So relationships would be one. The arts may be something that connects you or your loved one to their ultimate meaning in life. And that could be just music, art, poetry, sculpture, antiquities, just anything that you can think of when it comes to art. Another mediator of spirituality, something that would give us great meaning, could be nature, the environment, creativity, using your imagination. And then finally, I want to mention religion, because religion is a great mediator of our spirituality, of course, and it encompasses all of that other that I mentioned to you. So relationship with God and with others as we worship. The arts certainly are a big part of our religious practices. And then, of course, nature and creation is a huge, huge part. So what are we trying to do as caregivers for a loved one with dementia, or anyone else who we love and care for? We're going to try to facilitate, try to prompt them to reminisce about these areas. And the purpose is that we as caregivers would like to connect or reconnect them to that which gives our loved one ultimate meaning. So maybe a reconnection to relationships or practices, ideas, or principles that they express in their stories of reminiscing stories, and to connect them to what is at the core of their being, their breath of life. And in order to do that, you first kind of have to do a self-examination and ask yourself, what is my most, what do I get most meaning out of in life? And what is most important to me? And so it's helpful if you ask yourself these questions first and then ask your loved one, and don't impose your own needs and your own importance of meaning in certain areas on your loved one. Let them be unique and express to you what is most important to them. So some of the questions that this week that you could ask your loved one is, as you reach the end of your life, what do you hope for now? And even I was reading that question. It's from the book that I mentioned, and so ask that for yourself first. So as I reach the end of my life, what do I hope for now? And I think that would be relationships with my family, especially immediate family, and with friends and with coworkers. That would be very meaningful to me. So, all right, now that I've realized that, when I go to ask that question to my loved one with early to moderate dementia, the answer may or may not be the same. I'm going to try not to impose what my feelings are on that. So just a little guide there. You could ask Dad, what gives greatest meaning to your life now? And of course, when you're talking to someone, anyone, but especially someone with memory loss, be sure to give them space and time to answer your question. So usually when we're talking to a friend who does not have memory loss, the conversation flows fairly quickly back and forth. I ask a question, you answer, I rush in. Sometimes I even can interrupt you. When we're talking with someone with memory loss, take your time and once you ask the question, let there be some time, some space, and it may even make you feel a little uncomfortable, but just hold your tongue and listen and give them time. And once they have formulated those responses, they can answer you, and then you can go from there. Another good question would be, what have been the best things about your relationships that you have had in your life, the best things about your relationships. Another question, going straight to spirituality, with religion, a focus on religion, you could ask, what do you think God is like? That could tell you a lot. And what are your earliest memories of worship or taking part in a religious service? Would you like to pray now? Would you like to have a service like that? Would you like to sing some songs that you remember from your time of worship? What exactly do you find expresses meaning for you? And that could be art, music, animals, poetry, religious practices, God. And so as caregivers, our role here is to reconnect our loved one with those things that gave them and continues to give them ultimate meaning in life. And so I have some attachments here that Darian has downloaded under the comments, and that is a handout with a lot of links to different sources for having a worship service with your loved one, praying with your loved one, poetry for those with dementia, and you can look those up and try to reconnect your loved one with dementia with that which is meaningful. As a chaplain in the hospital, we had a patient who had been a farmer, and he had been in the hospital for quite some time. And one of his nurses was able to take him outside one afternoon and let the sun shine on his face. And she gathered some soil for him and put it in his hand and let him smell that soil and feel the soil while the sun was shining on his face. That to him brought him his meaning in life, his ultimate meaning. That was his spirituality. I'm not saying that that God is not everything that there is about spirituality. God is a great portion of many people's spirituality, but spirituality is multifaceted. And so we examine ourselves and we examine our loved ones for what brings them meaning. We ask them questions where they will reminisce, tell us stories about their lifetimes, and we listen and without judgment, and try to figure out ways to reconnect them to that which has been giving them so much meaning, so that they can have peace and joy and fulfillment here at this time in their lives, even though that they have dementia. So thank you. I appreciate your joining me for these 3 segments on conversation and listening to our loved ones.
Thank you so much, Karen, for being here. And like she said, there is some extra resources in the comments. There's a PDF that you can look at. There's a lot of links and things that you can check out that some really fun things that you can do with your loved one. And thank you again, Karen, for being here. You can find all of these segments together in one place on our blog, carepartnerstexas.org. And all 3 of these videos will be on our blog. So we're going to say goodbye to Karen for now, but thanks again, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
And thank you guys so much for joining us. We're actually going to have another segment later today. April is Parkinson's Awareness Month, and so we're going to be joined by Celeste Harris from the Houston Area Parkinson's Society, and she's going to share some information about that. Other than that, be sure to visit carepartnerstexas.org. There's a lot of resources about the COVID situation and other educational segments. We have an in-home gathering place activity guide. So if you're missing the gathering place, we've put together little activities that you can download and print out at home to do with your loved one. And we're also doing the teleconference Common Ground twice a week. Common Ground's a support group for caregivers. You can find some more information on our website about how to call into that, but we have a mediator and someone to just listen and connect with all of your other caregivers like you. And with that, we are gonna say goodbye for now, but we'll see you later today. Have a great weekend, and thank you so much for joining us.